Hey everybody, it's Wendy from Rose Light Astrology, Rose Light Healing, and even though I am dealing with this head cold and pretty much a detox of my lungs at this point, which is good, being ready for March, um, for spring. Anyway, I wanted to share some components of what's going on. I haven't been on here. I've been in my own inner process. I really like to take January to be internal and quiet, and I'm in this kind of conscious death phase, and so that's been really important for me. And I wanted to give you an overview of where we are right now compared to where we were when Venus first went into the underworld, which is what this chart is, which was right at the 25th of November, right around Thanksgiving. And we have a full moon coming up this Sunday, Eastern Time, 5 p.m., the 1st of February, and there's some powerful energies building. So, but I wanted to show you, here's Venus in Scorpio on the 25th of November last year, and she's conjunct Mercury, and Mercury is retrograde. And it was kind of a powerful, chaotic time for a lot of people. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of that background, and before I focus on today's chart. So, okay, so here we are today. Here's Venus in Aquarius, and she's still conjunct Mercury, and she kind of has been. So if I take us back to when all these planets were in Capricorn, this is before Christmas. She's building up. Okay, that's all Sag. So here, Venus, the Sun, and Mars. This was the first of the year. And this was like really powerful conjunction, initiation. Mars and Venus, very rare for them to come together like this. With the Sun, they come together many times, but with the Sun, it's pretty rare. So there was this whole conscious theme going on around the Capricorn issues in your life. And for me, I have Capricorn in my 7th house. Sag opens my 7th, and then I have all these all the rest is Capricorn. So all this Capricorn was in my 7th house, and I was dealing with like clearing out relationships, setting boundaries, setting big boundaries for myself, and just needing absolutely to do it. And so wherever, if you think back to the beginning of the year and what was happening for you, here we are with Venus and Mars, and here they are still together. They're still with the Sun. So there was like that build up for a whole week, that whole first week, and here's Mercury coming. So if you have planets, and plus it was opposing Jupiter, okay, in Cancer. So Jupiter expands everything. So our emotions, we were maybe frustrated, a lot of feelings, or maybe some interference. If, here we have Chiron kind of squaring. It's not kind of, it is. It's squaring Jupiter, Chiron, the wounded part of our essential individualized self, the masculine. We could say that the masculine is going through a deep, deep, deep initiatory healing process. All of the issues with the collective masculine are coming to the surface. And because the USA, here in the US, we have Pluto in Capricorn, we have the Sun in Cancer. This is not the USA chart. It's really playing out here in a big way. So anyway, if you have these cardinal placements in Libra, late Libra, it was extra potentized for you. And I can say for me, it really has been. I have Mars right here in Libra. Chiron's been opposing it. It's been squared by Jupiter. Then all these personal planets come along and say, hey, I need some space from all of these things, and people didn't like it. So it's there's always so much involved in taking care of ourselves, and as we grow and mature and decide what we need in our lives. So anyway, what was going on for you at the beginning of the year there? Then Mars and Venus start separating. They're still together. Look at that. This Mars, the Sun, Venus, Mercury, they're all here. It was really, really kind of intense because they were opposing Jupiter, because Jupiter expands all of these issues. So now, here we are now, right? If we go to now, all those planets have moved out of Capricorn, okay? And they're over here in Aquarius. And Mars was building up. I'm going to go back just a day or two. Mars, oops, going the wrong way. Here's Mars at 2 degrees, Pluto's at 3 degrees. Mars is building up to Pluto, building up to the crossing the Sun. But this, in conventional astrology, this is very, very dicey, dangerous, accidents, all kinds of things can happen. In Aquarius, it would happen in a group setting, in an uprising setting, which we've seen. Violence, death. So Mars is violence, Pluto is death. They represent those things. That's not the whole picture of them, but that's what they represent. So, and this weekend, so this was Monday, okay, where Mars is. We go to Tuesday, they're exact. We go to Wednesday, Mars is here. It's beginning ever so slightly to separate, but this is a full-on conjunction, we would say, for another 5 to 10 degrees, if depending on what you allow. Most astrologers only allow like 2-degree orb, but in evolutionary astrology, we give it a bigger space to express that consciousness. So the other thing it represents is Mars building up to Pluto. This is called a balsamic phase, an ending, a culminating phase. So everything that was happening here in Capricorn, part of Capricorn that people really miss, it's a yin, feminine, earth sign. Capricorn is very internal. It needs that internal space to find the still point. If we think of winter in Capricorn, it's that still point that we reset so that we have that inner alignment and core to go up the mountain, to go do the thing that we have the vision for, that we're going to manage, that we're going to build. But if we don't have that inner kingdom, that inner resource, it's hard to do that. So this culminating phase, so we kind of were already in this death process as Mars was building up to Pluto and all these planets. So things that came up in that Capricorn time, December, January, and really from the equinox in September, right? Because we have 4 quadrants in the year, and we can look at from one to the next kind of what happens. So at the solstice, it's a reset, and then we're in a new phase for the next 3 months. And here we are in December, January, February, March, part of December. So this culminating phase, this could be the ending of a pattern around the masculine, our own inner drive, relationships with the masculine, maybe a vision that we had that hasn't come to fruition. So we're letting these things pass, these old ways of being, these old ways of initiating, maybe not being our authentic self, Aquarius, and not honoring our whole inner wisdom, our desire to be in group setting, to be with like-minded souls. So then Mars conjuncts Pluto, it passes, and now we're in a new phase. It's a new phase, it's a new beginning. So that's where we are right now, right? So if we go right to today, here we are, we're in this new beginning. The sun is in Aquarius. It's conjunct Vesta at 9 degrees. This is Atlantis, the asteroid Atlantis. And this Venus is even still here with the sun. So Vesta is the Vestal Virgin. She's holding the hearth space. She's holding the fire for the collective, for your inner self, your inner creative, burning truth. And it's conjunct the sun. So the sun is this big, big, warm, hot, and not warm, hot energy, right? Takes up all the space. The sun, Vesta is like having created a fire on the earth, and you have, you know, a fire pit, and you're tending that fire. So you have the fire here right present inside of you, right in your domain, and then you have the sun like radiating. So you have these two fire energies in the sign of Aquarius. So brilliant ideas, high-mindedness, like-minded souls, connecting with a group, starting a group, you know, a whole new uprising in the collective in terms of grassroots. All this stuff is going to be initiating and forming right now in people's minds. That said, I just want to look here at my notes for a second. So Venus is still in the underworld. So that started, like I showed you, at Christmas, on Thanksgiving. And we're still in that place where Venus cannot be seen in the sky right now. So she's hidden from us. She's in the glare of the sun. See how close she is to the sun? The sun is still covering her up, so to speak. So, or hiding her. It's so, so bright you can't see Venus. And she's in this transition from the morning phase, and then we're in this hidden phase all of December, all of January, all the way until the 17th of February when the evening star, Venus evening star, rises. And then the 18th of February, she goes into her first chakra gate, to rise up through the ascension, the Queen's Ascent phase. So we're still in that place. And things, while we have vision, we might not have the readiness or the foresight completely or ready to take full action. So we're still formulating things. This is very new. So this would require, Mars is all about exploring and initiating and trusting our gut and going with the impulse and what we're feeling and honoring that. And, you know, over time, if we were just to turn everything on this chart off and just look at Pluto here in Aquarius, first time any of us on the planet have ever been alive with Pluto in Aquarius. And this, ultimately, it's going to take 20 years for Pluto to go through Aquarius. And this is going to be a big uprising from the collective and a toppling down of the status quo, of all this, what I call usurped Capricorn. The patriarchal constructs have taken over Capricorn. You know, father time, time itself really is based on the seasons and Mother Earth. And when we've separated the feminine from the masculine without union of them, or the yin yang and how they all work together, we're out of balance. And it's very clear. We're super out of balance. So the best thing we can do is manage our own balance and how we can offer to the collective. Now, the thing that's happening, so I'm going to move to this full moon chart. And so we have the full moon on Sunday the 1st. Here's the moon, 13 degrees Leo rising. So it's a Leo rising chart and the moon is there. There's going to be a lot of feelings flying around in the collective. Leo tends not to hold back, and when you're talking about the moon, there's some strong, strong feelings. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's some big uproar, uprising energy, because the other thing is Mars is just prior to this full moon. The moon is over here and it's opposing Mars. The moon and Mars, they're not good friends. They are not good bedmates. Mars is angry and the moon is emotional. I mean, that's just very, very like basic, cheap 5 cent astrology, but that is the combination of the two can be serious. And so I would suggest laying low prior to this full moon. Let the moon pass Mars. Let yourself experience what you're feeling. Get a journal. Talk to friends, because Aquarius is also about friends. Make some new friends. And Aquarius also rules online communities. So there'll be a lot of endings and new beginnings here. So there'll be a lot of stuff online, or if you can go to a local group gathering, chanting, whatever it is, that would be a good way to use this Mars energy, because they're still conjunct here, Pluto and Mars, and they're separating, but that's a very still tight conjunction. So a lot of people need to be able to focus this energy somewhere. And if you don't focus it, then you're just going to feel frustrated dancing. But I would say writing, communicating, and being with like-minded souls. The one issue with Pluto and Aquarius is we're going to see a lot of course, the word has totally escaped me, but there's going to be a lot of groups that form cults. It's very cultish. So there could be, an uprising around that. But as we know, if you're on the path of consciousness, I have seen so many miracles in my life that I thought would never, ever happen. We know that those of us here to help hold the space, that is one of the best things we can do. Be in our hearts, be in love, meditate, do our mantras, do your creative work, do your inner processing work, do some parts work, find a community. This is the beginning of a new phase, okay? So there's a lot of light shining because we've got Leo, and then we've got the sun opposing Leo and the moon. So there's going to be a lot of reflecting going on. Could be a lot of projection from the group onto this moon. So be sure that you're connected enough with your essential self, your heart self, that you're not kind of taking it on, but that your Leo, wherever Leo is in your chart, if you have planets there, this is like extra potentized, extra powerful. You're going to be really lit up. If you don't have any planets in Leo, this moon is going to be wherever the Leo house is in your chart, and that's an area to focus. If it's in the third house, writing, siblings, neighbors, small trips, but there's so many pieces to the houses. Maybe I'll make a video about that. I plan to paint. I'm going to paint. You can see there's my Mary painting over there. Still working on it. This video keeps moving. Anyway, I have all these, I have canvases everywhere, so I'm just going to keep painting. Okay, so, and then we have Venus still with Mercury. Now the big thing is this full moon, we are fully stepping into eclipse season, because the eclipse, the new moon solar eclipse, is on the 17th. we have three things happening on the 17th. We've got the new moon eclipse, we've got Venus rising out of the underworld, and it is the fire horse Lunar New Year. So it is extra loaded. So I always thought that the Lunar New Year started on a lunar eclipse. So I don't know what that's about, but it's I'd have to look that up. But this is a solar eclipse, new moon on the 17th. So let's go to that chart. So what I'm saying is that everything that's happening right now and building up to this new moon and full moon, between this full moon and this eclipse, between this time, the 1st and the 17th, we are in that eclipse portal. We're going to feel everything. I'm always more empathic, more intuitive, more sensitive during an eclipse. I want that quiet time. Because I'm an empath, I need it. But also it's a way to honor the eclipse energy. And but solar eclipses are more outward. They tend to be lighter than the lunar eclipses. If we collectively here in the US go into a government shutdown, it's not ideal, because the other thing that's happening is Mercury's going to go into retrograde. So we're also moving into the retrograde phase, shadow phase of Scorpio. Of Mercury going retrograde. So it goes retrograde 22 degrees Pisces. So right now, this is the eclipse, and I should just make a separate video of that, but I want to show you. Here's Mercury at 16 degrees. So it's already well into the shadow phase of it going retrograde. So everything that's happening between that full moon that we're getting ready to have and this new moon and Venus rising, Venus rules money. It's in Pisces, so hopefully it won't be a big theme, and we have all this stuff that's moved out of Capricorn, which is banking. I don't know, the astrologers that I respect talked about a possible economic issue in March, April. So let's really hope that there's no government shutdown. After the snow, the whole thing, we've been closed down for a week here. We have all this ice. I've been feeding the birds. It's below zero. Super cold here. And so coming out of that and then building into this eclipse, because so Mercury goes retrograde in eclipse season, because after this new moon, then we have the lunar eclipse. Let me move this up here. So we have the lunar eclipse on March 3rd. So they come in pairs, just like the new moon, 2 weeks, then we have a full moon, 2 weeks, then we have a new moon 2 weeks later. It's the same thing, it's just that these are eclipses. So eclipses open like a window, and then we're in that window now, starting now into the 17th. Then from the 17th to the 3rd, we're deep into the eclipses. And then the eclipse happens on the 3rd, and then it takes us another 2 weeks to come out of the acute phase of the eclipse. Eclipses, the effects of them can last for 6 months, but there's the sorrow cycles of eclipses, and they can last for years and years and years, the impact of them. So I don't want to go into all of this too much, since we were just really talking about this Leo new moon, but I want you to be aware that this full moon is leading us into a powerful phase. Let me just look if I have anything else. Yeah, so back to Venus. We had Venus in the underworld the 25th of November. Then at 16 Capricorn, which was, I think, I forgot to look at the date. Anyway, kind of halfway through the underworld cycle, Venus and the Sun conjunct, which I showed you in the earlier chart. That initiated the Venus star point. So a new star point gets initiated every time Venus and the Sun come together. So that took us out of Venus building up to the Sun here from November 25th until it reached that 16 Capricorn. Now it's over here. Venus is on the other side and it's going this way, moving towards that evening star rising on the 17th. So after that Sun conjunction, things tend to get a little bit easier. We can see more clearly, but we're still not out of it. We're building up enough courage to come into that new phase, root chakra phase, to reclaim our ground, to reclaim our power, to reclaim the earth, to reclaim our ultimately our sovereignty, but our right to be here, to take up space, to live, to thrive, right? How can we thrive? So if I just go back and talk about this chart again here, and the 6th house, what can you initiate around your health in a bigger way, a collective way that can help humanity and help you all at the same time? What do you need to start? I'll tell you what I'm doing as a 60-year-old woman who got diagnosed with osteopenia. I'm getting this thing called an echo light ultrasound of my bones. So it's not a DEXA scan, which takes, just looks at your hip. This echo light looks at all of my bones, and it's going to tell me where I have the most strength, where I need more to build more, and then they have this machine that I can work out on once a week, and it works on your long bones to strengthen your long bones. So for me right now, it's all about taking care of my health and also stepping out more in the world in a bigger way. What can we do to help humanity? What are we going to do individually? Where does Aquarius land in your chart? So I think what I'll do is I'll come back and I'll go through all the houses for everybody. Okay, all right, I'll be back. I can't find the way to turn it off. It's not, there it is.